create value in economy. Therefore, our mission is not anymore to learn a profession. Our mission is to equip them with skills that help them be resilient, innovate, and be successful in an ever-changing world. Therefore, the most important question here is not what job will you have tomorrow, but whether our educational system is equipping those kids with the skills to adapt to all changes to appear in the future. And this is the reason why vocational education and training is more strategic than ever today. It is the bridge that links education with employment, the youth with opportunities, and our economy with the competitiveness of the future. Today's conference is being held in an important moment for Albania. While we are advancing the European integration process, we are quickening the digital transformation, and we face new demographic and economic challenges. And in this context, developing skills is a national priority. In the recent years, we have undertaken important reforms in the vocational training. We have strengthened the dual model. We have more cooperation in the private sector, and we have invested in a modern infrastructure. And we have put the skills in the center of the national strategy of education skills for 2023-2030. But today, we're not here just to reflect on the progress achieved. We are here to discuss on how to build a system that is more flexible, more qualitative, and more sustainable, that is able to meet the demands of the labor markets and the ambitions of Albania to become a member of the EU. And for this reason, we have gathered here in this conference development partners, representatives of business sector, experts, teachers, and youth themselves. And this diversity of voices is our biggest strength, because building the skill system of the future is a joint responsibility. I thank you all for being here, and thank you for the contribution you've been given and are giving to this conference and to vocational education in general. And now I have the pleasure to invite here for remarks one of the biggest champions of development of vocational education in Albania, also at a personal level, Her Excellency, Swiss Ambassador in Albania, Ms. Ruth Huber.
Edi Rama, Minister Delina Ibrahimai, ambassadors and dear colleagues from the diplomatic community, dear representatives of the vocational education and training sector, students, teachers, ladies and gentlemen. This is already the third national VET conference, which shows that this conference has become a valued tradition. It brings together policymakers, education providers, employers, teachers, development partners, and other stakeholders to reflect on progress and shape the future of vocational education and training. While the first conference established a shared vision for the VET reform, the second reviewed initial achievements and identified priorities for the next phase, and today, on this third edition, we have the opportunity to take stock of the progress made and discuss the path ahead. And important results have been achieved. One of the most significant developments is the gradual shift from a school-based VET system towards a dual approach that combines classroom learning with work-based learning in companies. I'm proud to state that Switzerland helped introduce the dual VET model alongside the ministry and local actors, starting with the 24-25 academic year. With this, foundations have been laid for the transition towards a genuine dual VET system. At the same time, accreditation standards were developed and strengthened, contributing to improved quality, greater transparency, and increased trust in the system. Progress was made in recognition and certification of prior learning. This means learners and workers can now have their skills formally recognized, thus creating new opportunities in their careers and professions. One achievement that stands out to me, and which is a very Swiss feature, is that engagement of the private sector has grown considerably. More companies are participating in curriculum development, in offering training opportunities at the workplace, and help to ensure that skills development responds to the labor market needs. A particularly encouraging example comes from the hospitality sector, where Swiss hospitality education is now present in Albania. This year, 60 students from the Tirana School of Hospitality and Tourism received their EHL Foundation level certificates. We are proud to see the excellence and prestige of the world-famous Swiss school, the EHL, École Hôtelière de Lausanne, brought to Albania, contributing towards high-quality hospitality education and equipping young people with skills that meet international standards and labor market demands. At the policy level, stronger data collection and analysis are supporting more evidence-based decision-making, and enhanced coordination among institutions is helping to ensure that reform efforts are aligned and mutually reinforcing. In this regard, I'm particularly pleased to see the strengthening of sector coordination through the Integrated Policy Management Group on Human Capital Development and its thematic working groups, which provide an important platform for dialogue, alignment, and joint action. Having mentioned all these achievements, there is still, of course, a lot to be done in this next chapter. Building a truly effective dual VET system requires more commitment and collaboration among all stakeholders. Yet it is a journey worth undertaking due to its enormous potential and value for the economy. It has started on the right path. Dear partners, Switzerland is a firm supporter of reforms that position vocational education and training as a key driver of Albania's social and economic development. Through our strategic partnership with UNDP at the policy level and through the Skills for Jobs project implemented by Swiss Contact with public VET schools across the country, we continue to contribute to the design, advancement, and implementation of systemic reforms across the VET sector. Our support goes hand in hand with the National Employment and Skills Strategy up to 2030 and with Albania's European Union accession process, as well as with the EU growth plan for the Western Balkans, particularly its human capital development pillar. The progress made so far provides a solid foundation for the important work that remains ahead. Let us continue building on these achievements. Let us strengthen the quality and the relevance of vocational education. Let's make it attractive for young people as an attractive, promising path to gainful employment and a convincing professional choice also in the eyes of the parents. Let's continue this path towards a fully functional and effective dual VET system for the ultimate benefit of learners, employers, and society as a whole. I wish you all a productive and inspiring conference and look forward to the discussions ahead. Thank you.
Thanking Ms. Huber, now I invite His Excellency Karl Begner, Ambassador of Germany to Albania.
Dear Prime Minister Edi Rama, dear Minister of Economy and Innovation Delina Ibrahimai, dear colleagues of the Diplomatic Corps and international organizations, collaborators in this endeavor on improving vocational education and training, but most importantly, dear teachers and students of schools of vocational education and training, because this conference is really for you. It's about you. I would like to thank in the beginning the Ministry of Economy and Innovation and all partners for organizing this important conference and for bringing together key stakeholders. It is important that policymakers and administration, but also employers, education and training providers, development partners, and young people share views and discuss the vision and future of skills development in Albania 2030. When I think about the topic vocational education and training, I immediately always think of a good friend of mine who is a very skilled and successful carpenter with his own business. And he always told me, whoever creates something with their hands has created something lasting. And there is some truth to that. We live in an age where academic education is often seen as a priority and the only path. But this is a mistake. Vocational education is a backbone of our economies, the foundation for innovation and the key to a stable society. Or to quote Prime Minister Rama, Albania will not function only with lawyers and managers. Think about it. Who builds our houses? Who repairs our cars? Who develops the technologies that improve our lives? Who runs businesses and tourism facilities? It is skilled workers who have learned their trade through solid training and application of the training. And the beautiful thing about it is vocational education is an opportunity for everyone to discover and develop their talents. Whether you are interested in the craft profession, the healthcare sector, or IT, vocational education offers you the opportunity to specialize and become a sought-after specialist. I therefore congratulate the Ministry of Economy and Innovation again, which has achieved important progress in implementing the National Employment and Skills Strategy 2023 to 2030, with tangible results in strengthening Albania's vocational education and training system. Vocational training is becoming increasingly aligned with labor market needs and more closely connected to the private sector, ensuring that curricula, qualification, and skills respond to the demands of a modern economy. It is encouraging to see growing interest among young and adult people in VET pathways, reflecting increased confidence in the quality, relevance, and opportunities offered by vocational education. Today, VET is increasingly recognized not only as a pathway to employment, but also as a pathway to a decent, well-paid and sustainable career that benefit individuals, businesses and society. The German government has been a strong and reliable partner in supporting vocational education and employment in Albania over the past decade. This support has been delivered through two complementary instruments. First, GIZ, providing technical assistance for reforms and capacity development, and second, KfW, through the Regional Challenge Fund, supporting investments in infrastructure. And I see some of the schools that have benefited from this here present. In cooperation, and this is very important, this is a team effort. This is a cooperation between many partners. The Swiss cooperation has been named, UN has been named, European Union delegation. So this is really a collaboration of many of us working in the same direction. So in cooperation with other international and national stakeholders, this assistance has contributed to improved governance of the sector, with greater strategic clarity, stronger institutional capacity, and a clearer long-term vision for vocational education and training in Albania. During the bilateral negotiations in late April, bilateral German-Albanian negotiations on government-to-government cooperation, late April this year, we committed another 40 million euro for the sector over the coming years. We are operating now in a global context marked by significant uncertainty, driven by geopolitical tensions, rapid technological change, and shifting economic dynamics. This environment makes adaptability, resilience, and investment in skills and human capital more important than ever. Therefore, I would like to address some challenges that could become, at the same time, game changers for the future of Albania. Vocational education and training must become more modern, attractive, and responsive to the needs of the younger generation, while it must also remain accessible and relevant for older learners through lifelong learning opportunities. Further development of multifunctional centers combining full-time VET programs with short-term qualifications offer a balanced approach that ensures both strong, high-quality qualifications and a timely and flexible response to the market needs. The system must remain firmly grounded in strong technical competences, while at the same time becoming more agile and forward-looking. It must be capable of rapidly adapting to emerging labor market dynamics, particularly in areas such as digitalization and green transition. Expanding dual education and work-based learning models, as well as sectoral technical committees, represent one of the most effective approaches to strengthening the relevance and responsiveness of vocational education and training. Investment in teachers and trainers and modern teaching infrastructure is essential to ensure high-quality delivery of vocational education and training. Teachers and trainers are the primary source of knowledge and a key reference point for students. Therefore, continuous professional development of teaching staff represents a high return investment. This is perhaps a good moment to thank all the teachers and all the teaching staff of the WETS schools here in Albania for their efforts and for their commitment actually to the future of this country. Thank you very much. Innovation and creativity are key drivers of competitiveness. They should be used to make vocational education and training more attractive to talented young people, while also fostering stronger and more organic linkages between the private sector, universities, and research and innovation centers. This integrated approach can help create a more dynamic skills ecosystem that better responds to the needs of a modern and competitive economy. In this context, Albania's EU accession perspective provides a clear strategic anchor. Vocational education and training are an integral part of the relevant EU acquis and reform chapters. Therefore, progress in this area is not only essential for meeting accession benchmarks, but also for ensuring that Albania's economy is fully prepared to compete and integrate within the European single market. I'm confident that the discussions today will generate valuable ideas and practical recommendations for the next phase of reform. Let us work together to strengthen vocational education and to appreciate the value of skilled workers. Because, as my friend said, whoever creates something with their hands has created something lasting. I wish participants a productive conference and successful exchanges throughout the days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bergner. Now I invite Mr. Andrej Rizzo, Chargé d'Affaires of the EU delegation to Albania.
Dear Prime Minister, dear ambassadors, dear Minister Ibrahimai, dear guests, it is indeed a pleasure to join you today on behalf of the EU delegation at this National VAT Conference to take stock of how far Albania has come in strengthening vocational education and training, while also looking ahead at the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. Looking around this room, I see a unique partnership. Government institutions, vet schools, training providers, businesses, social partners, civil society, international organizations, and development partners. The progress Albania has made in vocational education is the result of your collective effort. In today's economy, growth is no longer driven primarily by natural resources or infrastructure. It is driven by people, their knowledge, their skills, their creativity, and their ability to adapt to change. A highly skilled workforce is the foundation of a competitive economy. It attracts investment, supports innovation, creates quality jobs, and ultimately improves people's lives. This is why human capital development is at the very heart of Albania's reform agenda and at the heart of its European path. A holistic approach is therefore essential, one that combines skill development, job creation, and social inclusion. Such investments deliver lasting results when supported by effective public policies and strong partnerships between institutions, educators, and employers. The discussions we are having today are fully aligned with the priorities of the European Union. strengthening skills, promoting lifelong learning, improving employment opportunities, and ensuring that education systems respond rapidly to changing labor market needs. Across Europe, vocational education and training has become one of the key tools for addressing skills shortages, supporting competitiveness, and creating opportunities for young people and adults alike. The message from the European Union is very clear. Skills matter. And that is why we have the European Pillar of Social Rights, and more recently, the European Commission's Competitiveness Compass. And these are also priorities that are reflected in Albania's own employment and skills strategy, as the Deputy Minister has already mentioned. I would like to commend Albania's VAT institutions, teachers, trainers, and businesses and public authorities for the progress that has been achieved in recent years in making vocational education more responsive to labor market needs. We have seen encouraging developments in the expansion of dual VAT and work-based learning. What began as pilot initiatives while still in education and helping businesses access the skilled workforce they need. Equally important is the growing partnership between VAT institutions and the private sector. The establishment of sector skills committees is helping ensure that curricula are informed by real labor market needs and that training programs remain relevant to the sectors driving economic growth. These achievements demonstrate a shift from preparing students for yesterday's jobs to preparing them for tomorrow's opportunities. The European Union is proud to support Albania's efforts to modernize its employment and skills system. For many years, the EU has partnered with Albania in advancing employment reforms, improving access to decent work, and strengthening the quality and relevance of vocational education through training. And this we have done through our instruments for pre-accession, but now also with the reform agenda and growth plan, which has been, as has been also mentioned, has a very important human capital development pillar under that plan. At the same time, the European Union continues to support also Albania through programs that are focused on youth employment, labor market inclusion, and skills development. So, looking ahead, as you discuss priorities for the years ahead, I would encourage all stakeholders to continue building on the momentum already created, continue strengthening partnerships between VAT institutions and businesses, continue expanding high-quality dual VAT and work-based learning opportunities, continue investing in lifelong learning so that workers can continuously adapt to changing technologies and labor market demands. And finally, continue ensuring that vocational education remains inclusive and accessible, particularly for young people, women, and vulnerable groups. The future of vocational education is not only about preparing people for jobs, it is about preparing people for lifelong careers, innovation, and active participation in society. Before I conclude, I would also like to address the young people who are with us today. The skills you acquire today will open doors tomorrow. So be ambitious, be curious, and continue learning. And most of all, do not be afraid to pursue your entrepreneurial spirit and turn your personal and professional aspirations into reality. The European Union remains committed to working alongside all of you as Albania continues to strengthen its skill system, modernize its economy, and advance on its path towards membership in the European Union. Thank you very much for your attention.
Duke falenderuar zotin Riz.
Thanking Mr. Rizzo, now I want to invite Ms. Delina Ibrahimaj, Minister of Economy and Innovation.
Mirëdita të gjithëve, nderuar Ministër,
Hello, everybody, dear Prime Minister, dear ambassadors, international partners, representatives of the civil society, dear teachers and students. It is a pleasure to be here today to have my greeting remarks in this third conference of vocational education and training. This conference comes at a very decisive time for Albanian economy. Decisive, why do I say that? Not just because we are investing in vocational education and training, but because Albanian economy is changing and the global economy is changing as well. And the methods changed, and so do the ways how we educate people and train people in order to meet the requirements of a very dynamic market. Albania nowadays is not anymore the Albania of the free workforce. It's not the of a cheap workforce. It's not Albania that advances only one sector. But in the recent years, the Albanian economy has increased averagely by 4%. Unemployment has dropped by at 8.4%. It's one of the lowest levels in history, and employment has reached the level of 68.8% of the active population, and the indicators show a dynamic economy and above all show a structural transformation of sad economy. The Albanian economy is moving towards more services, more technology, and towards sectors with high value. The hospitality sector and food sector has doubled its weight in the national GDP. Vocational services, technical services, and scientific ones have had more growth of employment, almost 100%. In just one decade. The sector of technology, information, and communication now employs 26,000 people with a growth of 24% in said period. And these figures do not show just a quantitative increase, but a qualitative shift as well of this economy model towards diversification, innovation, sectors that require knowledge, skills, technology, and qualified professionals. These figures, we must not see these figures only as in the macroeconomical aspect. We must use them to understand that the investment that we have made in skills is the best economic policy we can make. Nowadays in Albania, we are opening sectors that in the past didn't exist or were just at the initial levels. Marriott, Liacorp, these international brands are investing in tourism, bringing new standards, and the development of tourism sector has not encouraged just the hospitality sector and the restaurant sector. It has encouraged new skills for the sector in things like aviation, marina, or all services related to marinas, like boat repairment, not just services related to boats and ships, and management of ships. But more than that, and all these translate in a big chain of business and a new chain of skills required to fill in the labor market and to achieve the provision of quality services. But not just tourism has increased, also financial services, technology centers in renewable energy, and scientific research. And while the economy grows, we are aware that Albanian enterprises need vocational training because the market requires professionals, and it is our duty to produce them as soon as possible. In the next decade, the competitiveness of Albania will not be measured just by its geographic provision or business costs. It will be measured also by our ability to supply the economy with technicians, programmers, energy experts, tourism experts, experts of automatization, and qualified managers. This is the reason why the skills policy is at the same time an economic policy, or better to say, is the most important policy that we can develop in this country. At a time when artificial intelligence, automatization, green transition are changing the way how we work, how we produce, the economies that nowadays invest in skills are the most competitive economies of the future, and the new investment in tourism, technology, or energy, or industry as well, they do need qualified people, and we are aware that without skills, investments will not bring productivity. Without skills, economic growth will not translate into well-being. And in all meetings that we have with different investors nowadays, we do not ask, and they do not ask anymore just about the fiscal system, taxes, or land. Today they want to know whether there are qualified youth so that businesses can develop, can be created, as well as flourish. And this is exactly the question we must answer. And this is exactly the race we have to do with ourselves and with the future. And if we don't take care today to invest in skills, then that race is likely to be lost. Capital can move from one place to another, but human capital remains the main advantage of sustainability and competitiveness of an economy. And this is the reason why in the last decade we have created a modern system of vocational training, and through the national strategy we have set the development of skills at the center of public policies. We want economic growth not to be translated just into macroeconomic figures, but to be translated into concrete opportunities for each youth, each family, each citizen that chooses to work and live in Albania. And this is the reason why in the last decade we have built a modern system of vocational training. Today we have over 17,000 youth that get vocational education. Their employability has improved, and the dual system is expanding all over Albania, and the national coding program has 2,500 qualified people. We have done 154 professional qualifications. We have invested in modern labs, in digital environments, in programs related to AI and green economy. The youth guarantee, which is being implemented all over Albania, will give a new opportunity to 40,000 youth until 2032 to get skills and employment. The multifunctional centers are long life learning centers. Dear guests, the government is working in two lines nowadays. We are on the one hand creating more investment possibilities and creating competitive economy, while also investing in the skills of our citizens so they can be the beneficiaries of the economic growth. The vision of skills 2030 is an Albania that competes through knowledge, productivity, technology, and innovation. An Albania investing in people as much as it invests in infrastructure, where each youth finds its own path towards career, regardless of where they come from and regardless of the education level they have. Because at the end of the day, sustainable economic development is not measured just by percentages, but with the real opportunities that we create, we give to people, to our citizens, to learn, to work and build their lives here. So, thank you very much for your attention. I wish this conference will be very fruitful, and I have the pleasure to give the floor to the Prime Minister of Albania, Mr. Edi Rama.
Hello, everyone, and to all of you, men and women, teachers here present in this room, people who never get tired of teaching. This is an important day to talk about on what we have done, but above all, what we want to do in our path, strategic path for employment and skills. This is a day when 3,500 graduated of VET system today have their exams, and I would like to wish them success in those exams. And this is a day when really the situation is very significant and is very encouraging. When we started this path, we had a system of VET system totally degraded and totally not useful to, not worthy to young people who went to these VET schools just to have a degree because they didn't have any other possibility, but they couldn't find there any condition to develop their talents and to acquire profession. They just found some teachers that they were committed, but they couldn't have the possibilities to make their teaching attractive because they had minimal conditions of infrastructure, laboratories. They had no relation between VT and the market, labor market. So today, the situation is totally different. If in the beginning of this path, the students going to the schools, VT schools, they were more or less 10%. Today they are nearly 20%. But this is a phase that is not, this is not the finish line, because our aim is to have 1 in 3 students in VET system. Luckily, today we can talk about a shift or overcoming a high wall of prejudice regarding VET system, because VET system was like a refuge for students who had results that never gave them any possibility to go to university. Because universities, although universities that had the doors open on all swing, but today this is a choice. And why it is working, we have today, because it's working, we have a number today that is not only speaks about this change, but also encourages others to look at this education. 63% of those finishing this VET system, VET education, they are employed. A part of them, they start working even before graduating, thanks to the reform that we have made and the selection for the dual system, by referring to 2 countries or 3 that have really the levels, the most admirable levels of the way how they have established VET education, and they transformed it into a system that guarantees the economy and guarantees their well-being. Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. And there is a correlation, very, very interesting correlation between the power of these countries, the model that they have created in the eyes of all the world, but also the idea related to those as rich countries, with the fact that these are countries that have a commitment, great commitment and historic commitments to VET. They are countries where VET system is integral part of their economy, and these are countries where everybody graduating in this system, vocational system, does not remain just a professional, but they are small entrepreneurs. And they have success with their own knowledge. And I'm very, very glad that we can talk about a fact and tangible proof of a cooperation with Switzerland, and to excellency of the VET system, of Switzerland system, of the prestigious School of Tourism, EHD, which has opened the doors in Albania by linking, this is not just a linkage with our school of hotellery and hospitality, which is a twinning project. 100% of them of this school are employed. That today are following these studies. They have already contracts, employment contracts. They need, of course, we need a lot more, because the industry of hotellery and hotels and it's a new system, but also is far from being a system that offers quality. And for this reason, all the interested persons who have invested in tourism and hospitality, they need qualified workers at all levels. One of the anecdotes of these last days related to developments that sparked a great debate in Albania. I want to tell you this: the idea that the foreign investors come to Albania to build resorts, which are for very rich persons and for employees from Pakistan, Bangladesh, or Philippines, because they want to pay them much less. This is an idea that has no correlation, no relation to the reality. It's wrong. It's a big mistake to talk in this way, and is a big lie to think this way. First of all, we don't have great numbers of investors in tourism area. We just started. The interest just started from the capital and foreign entrepreneurship for Albania, which is related to Albania's success in tourism. Just a few years ago, we had zero interest from the foreign capital and foreign entrepreneurs to invest in Albanian tourism. Zero interest. Why? Albania was the same beautiful. Our nature was the same beautiful. Its virginity was also the same as it is today. In areas with no investments, there were no interest. The first interest that was materialized, it was the interest for the touristic port of Durrës. And after that interest, and after we opened the path to this investment, started to build, to grow the interest of capital and foreign entrepreneurs in the tourism sector in Albania. Because years ago they had no trust. The idea that the great capital and big entrepreneurs, they go, big corporations, they go in certain countries to invest in tourism, to destroy these countries and to exploit a cheap workforce. This is an idea born by the total ignorance, because it's the opposite. There is no proof that foreign capital and prestigious entrepreneurs from the world to play a role in destroying nature or to be the cause, the main cause of damages done to the environment. The opposite is the truth. Environmental damages came always and first from stages of development that were based not only in the national domestic capital, but also they were related to a landscape, a closed horizon with all of the complex topics of the area. And of course, they were conditioned, limited by the costs, of building and the price. If we look at the Albanian coast today, the Albanian coast has started to develop in Golem. Today, we cannot imagine that every entrepreneur, domestic entrepreneur, to display in the doors of the authorities and to propose that kind of development. Why? Because this is a development totally unacceptable, but related to a time, to a period when the possibilities were very limited, where the capital was very modest, when knowledge were very limited, and when the purchase powers was very limited. And regardless of all these issues, and shortcomings in the development of building and construction in the tourism area, things came by improving. By becoming more qualitative, the cost of construction is increasing, but the price also, selling price is also increasing. And we come to Pakistan and Bangladesh. Regarding employees today, and I say it with full responsibility, and I challenge everyone to prove the opposite today. The main problem of the industry of tourism industry is not how much to pay. And there is no, in this industry, of course, when we talk about investments, where hotels and destinations, vacation destinations are located, the question is not how much to pay, but where to find employees for all the levels that has the profession to do this job as they should. And if someone finds me a country, a place in the Albanian coast, I'm talking always about the investments made. I'm not talking about the situations that might be semi-informal. I'm talking about hotels where they pay less than in Greece. Then I will review my opinion. You don't find a place in the Albanian coast where, according to the levels, salaries are lower than in Greece. There is no such a place in the Albanian coast where the salary to be lower than in Croatia. What is the problem? The problem is that those who incite racism towards foreign employees, those who think that foreign workers come from Philippines here as slaves, they don't want to work and to have a salary like in Greece and in Croatia. This is so simple. Or they don't belong to this area, they don't need a job. On the contrary, they work in Instagram and they give interviews on how their lives, modest lives, cost 20,000 euros per month. The question is very simple. The higher the quality of the system, of the tourism system, the higher will be the salaries. The lower the quality of the system, the lower the salaries. The higher the consume of those who come to spend in this system, the higher will be the revenues of the system and consequently of the state, of the government. This is a very simple equation. Switzerland, which is a touristic country also, as well, is very expensive. But it has very high salaries. Very high salaries for a simple reason that it has the possibility to be expensive because it has very high quality of its offer. By coming back to the students of PhD, these are Albanian students coming from simple families, Albanian families, and today they are, as I said, all of them have a contract from the tourism system in Albania. Today, tourism industry in Albania needs workers, and suffers even more for qualified workers. And our task is to expand the number of schools of tourism that are linked to actors of HD level. And I'm very pleased that plan is to enlarge the chain HG in even in other areas. But the beautiful thing in this history is that the industry is ready to participate, to sponsor students that will go and study in this school and then to contract them and to hire them directly. To object the increase of tourism quality and to refuse foreign capital in this industry is to refuse quality. Doesn't mean to refuse distraction. Today, all developments done in the tourism area are not developments of 10 years ago. Globally, I'm talking. There is no today, not in Europe, where our standards are exceptionally well-defined, related to the protection of environment, biodiversity, not only in Europe, but in even Middle East countries. Middle East countries are not countries with regulations and with standards well-defined in the form of the law, like in Europe. They don't have this kind of form. These are countries where there is another system and another type of decision-making. But what can you do in these touristic projects in Middle East that are not projects, first and foremost, with a very very strong accent to environment? They don't have green areas there by nature, but Abu Dhabi today is the ecosystem, the most perfect ecosystem of an area, habitated area in city habitated area. Abu Dhabi, the number of trees and plants planted in Abu Dhabi together with water, so accompanied by water, which is part of all the urban texture of Abu Dhabi, but not just for decoration purpose, but for the balance, natural balance. This is something that you don't find anymore in other countries for thousands of reasons. It doesn't exist anymore. It's totally idiotic to think that the foreign capital with billions organized and go somewhere to make golem of the 90s in Albania. This does not exist. In Europe is less invested in tourism because in Europe there is a lot. Europe has made also big mistakes, especially Southern Europe, Mediterranean Europe, which they understood and they reflected upon, and they created a lot of standards, strict standards. So you can't go to Portugal or in Spain, France, forget about it, or even in Italy, even in Calabria, which is an area, very poor area, anti-environmental area of the years 70s, 80s, and even 90s, and to propose projects that are not compatible with the ideal of nature. It doesn't happen. This is to think that and to react to this. It reminds me a lot of the alarm and the concern about waste, chemical waste in Albania. When we had the law to bring waste from other countries, that were not compatible with the chain of the circulation of waste circulation in Europe, where there is a waste import, but with a lot of conditions and with well-defined standards and green lists. So in Albania, we had a lot of problems. And when we came into government, one of the first laws, the first law that, as far as I remember, that we approved is to halt the imports of waste. Now we are in this phase, so thinking that we are importing waste. This is an approach that does not start from facts or from the project, does not initiate from the environmental study, but initiates from fear and at the same time by an ideology that is not compatible with the development. Because vocational education, to come back to this topic, is not a condolence for a person who cannot reach university. Is a possibility for a person that has another talent and has another opportunity in life, that with its own knowledge, not to remain a servant of someone who calls him and tell him, come in and fix my electricity, but to create a revenue, to create a small business, to create a small service company, and to serve in all the systems, starting from digital systems to service systems. I've talked a lot these days about Montenegro, and I've seen attentively all the service employees in the hotel for which construction people went to the airport, were waiting at the airport, the investor, and they were totally against him with insults. And I noticed them very attentively, and they were all, with no exception, from what I saw, boys and girls from Montenegro. All of them were professional. They were graduated in a tourism hospitality school, all proud, at least on the way they were talking. And then I was meeting them just to understand, and I was asking them, you have this experience here, you graduate in this school, why don't you go in another country to make the receptionist or the manager? They said, I'm not paid. At the end of the month, I don't get paid a lot, because I paid a lot. I don't pay a lot of taxes, for example, but I will pay a higher rent in another country. I'm okay in my country. But who gives them this opportunity? This opportunity is given by this country, by this hotel that seeks to offer higher standards. And in conclusion, I would like to shift from tourism. I want to bring another example. We had an agreement with Fincantieri to open in Flora the industry of navy. We have this production center there, but this facility, but we don't have anything else than the facility of the past. Fincantieri is one of the excellencies, greater excellencies in the world for the production and maintaining of the maritime vehicles, and they want to increase the production in military vehicles, maritime vehicles, in some typologies which are smaller ships. They want to do it in Albania, because in their facility they build big ships, and they will produce military ships starting with the 4 Albanian 2 or 3 which are needed based on capacities that are defined by NATO to Albania, and then we'll produce ships and we'll sell together jointly ships in a joint venture. The first thing that we'll do, Fincantieri, we will go to the school, industrial school and trade school in Vlora, to present the project, to present the professions, and to invite boys and girls of the school, industrial and commercial school in Vlora, which is a professional school, to sign an agreement, contract with Fincantieri, and start to be trained and start to train, even going in Italy to Fincantieri, to be ready in the moment that the project will start. We talk about 400 jobs initially, and in perspective we will reach 800 jobs. These are not jobs for lawyers, even for accountants. And I'm glad that the ambassador referred to something that I repeated all the time, because really we are the country with the biggest number of lawyers per kilometer square. These are places for all the chain of professions that are needed by this industry, from the manual work to the manipulation with or guiding robots. This is professional education, and not for a formality, but really I want to thank very much not only Switzerland government or German government or Austrian government, and of course European Union, for all the drive that are helping us to give to the professional education, because it doesn't matter how much the world can be computerized, but the professional education will be the main pillar of the economy. We can profiles might change, but I don't believe everything might happen. But I don't believe that the sea will be introduced in cell phones and offer possibilities to swim within a cell phone. I don't think that the sun will go into a cell phone and offer the possibility to put the cell phone over your heads and to bathe in the sun. I don't think the cell phone will become a beach or a hotel. People, as far as they will be on this earth, they will need to be served by people. I don't think that German tourists, when will come in Albania, will accept, instead of Albanian hosts, well-trained from Switzerland, robots that will talk to them in Albanian or in German and tell them welcome. Because Germans, they are robots by themselves. Imagine to be welcomed by robots in Albania. They will come in Albania for that part that is holidays, a pleasure. So I believe strongly in the vocational education, and I think that everything that we are doing, we have a lot to do, and I'm convinced with the support of our friends and with more communication for the values of this education, we will increase the number of those going to the schools and possibly reach within 2030 1 of 3 students to go to vocational education. Thank you.
I want to thank you all and thank all the people who had their remarks in this opening session of this conference. And now I invite everybody for a short break, and we can also visit our exhibition stands, and then we will be kicking off with the first thematic session. Thank you.